magazine, after that a line is left out of it or another line is added. But if you catch the publisher on a really bad day or when he's busy, he's going to put it over to the slush pile. And when it gets into the slush pile, it may get pulled for publication later on. It may get sent back to you. So you want to make a good first impression, and that's your first sentence. The same note, though, poor closing line will also hurt you. Like I say, we can edit this stuff. But I look at a poor closing line in an article kind of like a joke without a punchline. And you know how disappointing it is. Someone that doesn't know how to tell a joke will sit there and drag you all through the process and get you all excited about hearing the funny stuff or the conclusion of it. And it's like, and then he walked out the bar. What? You know, that's not a joke. Well, it's not a story if it just leaves you hanging. You've got to have something to make the reader feel satisfied. You don't want them to leave the story thinking, I'm going to know what happened. I'm never going to read anything by that guy again. Because if my readers don't want to read something by you again, then that means I don't want to put it in the magazine. And my readers do communicate. Using nigger slang. Okay, here's the example. I know a lot of terminology concerning Civil War relics. That's what I grew up with. I've learned a lot since then concerning coin hunting, but still, I probably don't know as much coin technology as someone that grew up coin hunting. So, for instance, I've got a couple examples here. Bad is, we dug 3 Wheaties, some clads, 2 eagle eyes, and a blob top. Okay, some people that are well-rounded know everything I just said. But other people, someone that's a coin hunter, well, they know what the Wheaties are and they know what the clads are. Eagle eyes, what's that? You know, is that part of an eagle's face? A blob top, what is that? Is that a piece of gum you stepped on? No, do it something to the effect of this. We dug 3 wheat pennies, some modern clad coins, 2 Civil War era eagle eye infantry buttons, which is eagle eyes, and a blob top soda bottle. Now, that may seem redundant and boring to some of y'all that know all the aspects of coin hunting, relic hunting, bottle hunting, but you got to remember, everybody that reads the article doesn't know all that. Assume that they don't. Explain it to them, because every issue of our magazine that we sell, we have new subscribers, and a lot of those people have just gotten into metal detecting. A lot of them don't know which way to even turn the switch to turn the metal detecting on, much less the terminology used. So be sure to explain it to them. Not enough detail goes right along with that. You've got to have, you've got to tell people about what's being dug, how it's being dug, explain it to them, make them want to read it. And by the same token, too much detail. I don't need to know that it was an 1876 Indian head penny in very good condition, but it had a slight plow mark on one edge of it, which lowered the condition a little bit, an 1809 large cent with heavy corrosion and a green patina that was flaky. I don't need to know all that. Just tell me what the coin dates were. Tell me about it. Okay, here are some tidbits which are going to help you in seeing your story get in print in most treasure magazines. And this is something I'm real comfortable talking about because it's my job every day. That is, number one, if you send a story to us, expect some editing. Even if you're a professional writer, there is some editing that is done in all the magazines. Sometimes it's a little bit of adding a word or taking away a word just to make the page balance out. Something as simple as that. Other times it's adding in a little more detail where you didn't, or taking out a little detail where you put in too much. The stories that generally don't get published by treasure magazines, and we get these occasionally, and that is somebody will send us a cover letter and they'll say, do not edit my story. I do not want my story edited. Well, I'm sorry, then you're probably not going to get published, because I'm going to be afraid to touch your story, because I'm going to go by your wishes. And if I can't modify that story a tiny bit, even taking out a word or putting an N instead of an A or something like that in it, I don't want the article. It's, you're too good for my magazine and you don't need any editing at all. And don't fall in love with your title. one of the first articles I ever had published, I